In the midst of ice and forests lies an incredible kingdom, the land of the north, where greenery, Vikings, blondes, and dreamers come together. That's right, Sweden. Now, we're heading to the heart of Scandinavia, so get ready. This journey will change your perspective on life. This country, ruled by royalty, is unlike your typical kingdoms. For example, if you're sitting in a cafe and all the seats are taken, even if the person coming in is the king, they will be turned away, saying there's no room. The population of the country is 10 million, and the capital is Stockholm. There are many noteworthy things here. Can a country's metro stations turn into works of art? In Sweden, the answer is yes. The metro stations in Stockholm are a popular destination for tourists. Each one is uniquely designed as a work of art. Since the city is built on rocks, drilling through mountains and stones was necessary for constructing the metro. Each station has its own distinctive design. As a principle, 80% of Sweden's population is blonde. You can see children studying on frozen lakes, even when they are in elementary school. This is to help them develop a love for nature and adapt to challenging conditions. Speaking of studying, the state provides high school students with approximately $200 in allowance every month. For instance, a Swedish high school student can travel to many countries during the summer holidays by saving just a portion of this allowance. Of course, there are conditions. If you extend your schooling or have unnecessary absences, this allowance will be cut. I mentioned earlier that you'd be in for some surprises as we delve into this video. Here's another one for you. If your pet gives birth, you can take 6 months of maternity leave. Yes, you heard it right. When it comes to pets, 6 months. Now, imagine having your own child. Then, you have a whopping 480 days of leave, nearly 1.5 years. Fathers are obliged to spend time with newborns by using 90 days of this leave, as stipulated by law. Moreover, you get free public transportation for your baby carriage. Just give birth. Let's be even more astonished. For example, in the capital Stockholm, if you violate traffic rules for 3 consecutive days, the fine collected from you is paid to someone randomly selected who hasn't broken the rules for 3 days. Isn't that a nice way to comply with the laws? Here's another incident that could only happen in Sweden. 2 people in the country have private chauffeurs. One is used by the king, and the other is used by the prime minister only on special occasions. The slogan used for this is, "We don't run a taxi stand." You might find the Minister of the Interior sitting next to you while having coffee in Stockholm, or the Minister of Health on the bus next to you. This is because politicians there don't have the luxury of acting as if they've received their powers from God. After becoming a member of parliament, they don't receive a lifelong pension, and their parliamentary salaries are much lower than those in the rest of the world. There's no parliamentary cafeteria, and the homes allocated to parliamentarians are only 42 square meters. Now let's get to know the Swedes a bit. The Swedes' both clothing style and lifestyle generally don't go beyond simplicity. You won't easily find the luxury box. For instance, people get out of their cars and go into second-hand shops to shop. No one looks down on anyone. In fact, in Sweden, no one looks at you truly. How so, you ask? They explain it like this. If someone has looked at you for more than 3 seconds, either your zipper is open, or ketchup has spilled on your top, or they really like you. You wander around like a ghost. Let's say you're meeting a Swede. You must be on time. Otherwise, if you're 2 minutes late, your friend won't be there. Also, they don't invite you to their homes much. Even if you invite them, they find it odd, but they are never antisocial. For example, there's an event in Sweden called Fika Time. What is it? It's about having coffee with a sweet pastry. If they say, "Let's fika," take your cake and join in immediately. They won't say no or find it odd. In this country, no one addresses each other with titles or introduces themselves as a lawyer. Titles are not written on business cards. Titles like professor, lawyer, associate professor, teacher, etc. are not used in social life. They got used to it because there is no gap between professions in terms of income. and the profession is not more important than the individual. Sweden, being the country that obtains the most patents in Europe, is also interesting. There, as long as you have an idea, the state immediately supports you and provides you with the necessary opportunities. Many inventions that can come to mind belong to the Swedes. Of course, in proportion to this, Swedes are one of the most book-reading people in Europe. On average, they read 7 hours a week. Perhaps due to this reading activity, they are the world's most educated people. Their education lasts for 25 years. The country ranks 6th in the world in terms of prosperity, and many prominent brands belong to Sweden. 25% of globally distributed household appliances are made in Sweden. IKEA, Volvo, Skype, Ericsson, and even Candy Crush Saga are Swedish products. Now, let's take a look at the enchanting features of Sweden. The country is truly the land of green and white. It is the 4th greenest country globally, with 60% of its land covered by forests, and 340 million trees are planted every year. There are also a total of 97,000 lakes. Families, in particular, conduct a significant portion of their social activities by the lakeside. In the winter months, activities related to snow tourism take place. Skiing and sledding are common activities. The cold weather, which can even chill one's soul, has shaped life to the extent that the world's first and largest ice hotel is in Sweden. The hotel has to be rebuilt from scratch every year, and after the challenging winter months, it can be visited in some regions during the summer season. Sweden is one of the countries in the world that places the greatest importance on nature. Therefore, it is the first country to decide to completely abandon the use of fossil fuels such as oil and coal by 2050. Fuel consumption in Sweden is quite low. In addition, garbage is used as fuel here. There is a waste recycling system as well. Moreover, you can easily drink all the water flowing from your tap. It is all spring water and free. There is a law in this country stating that everyone should have access to natural resources. According to the law, people can swim in any water, pick fruits from trees, and even ride bicycles on private properties. Did you know that Sweden is famous for the Nobel Prizes? The renowned inventor and chemist Alfred Nobel have more than 355 patents. We usually associate him most with the invention of dynamite. Upon his brother's death, a newspaper mistakenly published an obituary for Alfred Nobel, stating, "The merchant of death is dead," attributing the error to Nobel's invention of dynamite and arms manufacturing. In response, Nobel decided to leave a better legacy, and, through his will, dedicated his entire fortune to the establishment of the Nobel Foundation. Approximately 90% of the country's population identifies as atheist or agnostic. There is great respect for all religions, and Sweden ranks first among countries providing the most aid to impoverished nations. However, like any country, Sweden faces its challenges. Firstly, a significant portion of Swedes complains about the lack of sunlight. In many parts of the country, sunlight can be obscured behind clouds for months, resulting in a peculiar light-dark balance. Swedes liken this situation to Middle-earth in The Lord of the Rings. Suddenly, at 2 p.m., the sun sets, plunging everything into complete darkness. Working hours start and end early, and in the summer, the opposite is true. During the phenomenon known as white nights, days lengthen, and in the northern regions, the sun can be present for up to 24 hours. Another important point is that Sweden does not rank among the countries with the highest suicide rates worldwide. It is 42nd according to research. Lastly, I'll conclude by mentioning that Sweden is one of the best places globally to observe the magnificent northern lights, a must-see for everyone. I hope your journey takes you there. Until the next videos, don't forget to subscribe and like the video.